Yeah, I'm going to pick the Broncos as the underdog. They had some fluky things go against them in Indy. The Chargers are on a short week.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Picks Wednesday. Yep, this year, instead of Fridays, I give you my picks on Wednesday, so you know really early in the week who I think is going to win every game. And so we have plenty of room for Greg Cosell, the NFL Films legend, to preview the games both Thursday and Friday before the Saturday sit-down. You're going to love it this week. We got Nick Moore, the Ravens long snapper. You ever curious about how somebody becomes NFL long snapper? You will find out on Saturday. By the way, at least 3 quarterbacks, at least 3 off the top of my head, got signed yesterday. So we'll get to those signings as well as kind of a surprise move by the Jaguars and the NFL issuing a statement as it relates to Tom Brady. A lot to get to a little bit later in the show, but you know the deal. We always start on Wednesdays now with my picks. It's Big Show time.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
All right, Ross, we're kicking things off with a game you might know a thing or two about. The Miami Dolphins. They're at the Buffalo Bills.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. All right, so I will be flying to Buffalo. I actually usually drive up there, but because I have to fly to Nashville early Friday morning, I'll be flying to Buffalo later today. Dolphins, Bills, huge rivalry for those two teams. Obviously, the Dolphins have gotten off to a really, really tough start. At least their offense was reputable and allowed them to be competitive on Sunday against the Patriots. Meanwhile, I thought that was a super impressive win by the Bills. You know, you come off that come from behind win against the Ravens, all that stuff, everything that went into that. It felt like the Bills were poised for a letdown against the Jets. Wrong. They rushed for 224 yards. They totally shut down the Jets' offense. Really impressive, mature win. Man, the Dolphins have struggled against the Bills. 13-1 are the Bills' their last 14 games. Sean McDermott's never lost the Dolphins at home. Josh Allen's never lost a Thursday game for a bunch of different reasons. Give me the Bills. I hope, since I'm calling the game for Westwood One Radio, that the Dolphins can keep it competitive. I'm not so sure. Their defense is rough. How about 31-20 Buffalo?
Next up, the Atlanta Falcons. They're at the Carolina Panthers.
By the way, for those of you that play in like Survivor or Suicide Pools or whatever we call them these days, the Bills would obviously be a pretty darn good pick. Short week, at home, all those things. Atlanta and Carolina, it's hard to pick against the Falcons based on what I saw Sunday night from that young, aggressive defense. Plus, as we laid out on, I can't remember, I think Monday or Tuesday's show, Carolina just lost, I don't know, arguably their 2 of their 3 best offensive linemen in Robert Hunt and Austin Corbett. They're both on IR. That's not good. Not good against the Falcons front that looks much improved. Give me Atlanta to get another win and Carolina to fall to 0-3. 0-3 is no good. And there's a bunch of teams that look like they could find themselves there after this weekend. I think Carolina will keep it closer, but I still think it's, 23-17 Atlanta.
Next up, we have a rematch of the 1965 NFL Championship. The Green Bay Packers are traveling to Cleveland to play the Browns.
So how do you know that? Like you Google famous Browns-Packers matchups? Like tell me how that went down.
I know my NFL history, Ross. I just knew that they're 2 franchises that were dominant throughout the 60s. Funny enough to say of Cleveland. And I just expected them to play. And I confirmed my hypothesis with a quick little Google search.
Okay, yes, you Googled it. Thank you. That was a long-winded way of saying I Googled it. Thank you, Jack. Um, by the way, when you Google stuff, doesn't AI come up now instead of Google?
Well, I don't really. I mean, usually Wikipedia is the first thing that comes up still.
It seems like for me, wherever I'm searching, it's like these like AI blurbs.
Well, that's like if
come
you
up
ask
first.
like a question. If you like Google a statement, it doesn't really come up.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'm taking the Packers. Surprise, surprise. Extra time to rest and prepare for this one. Obviously, the Browns did not look real good, especially in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. I will just say this, a word to the wise, okay? This happens in the NFL, where 0-2 teams beat 2-0 teams. Happens a lot. In fact, let me just go ahead and predict it'll happen multiple times this weekend, where an 0-2 team will beat a 2-0 team. I don't know which games those are. I don't know if I have the guts to pick them. I'm not picking the Browns to beat the Packers, but I am telling you, multiple 0-2 teams will beat 2-0 teams this weekend because that's the way the NFL works. That said, I'm not picking the number one team in my power rankings to lose to one of the bottom five in the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Pack to keep it rolling. I will say I have faith in that Browns defense, so I think this is like 23-16. I think the Browns keep it to a one-score game. 23-16 Packers.
Pretty important AFC South battle here. The Texans are at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Really important because there's a decent chance the Colts get out to 3-0 in the game I'm calling for CBS on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So, if the Texans win, both the Jags and the Texans will already be 2 games behind the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans can ill afford to be 3 games behind. This is not a must-win for the Texans, but boy, it would be super bad if the Texans start off 0-3. This is a game they kind of have to have. I don't know what was going on with the Jaguars a little bit in that last game, but I'm going to pick the Texans to win. This is tough, though. Short week on the road. It's a bad spot for the Texans. They got to get their offense figured out. I think that their defense is good enough that they get this done. Might not be real pretty, but I'll say 19-16. Texans get their first win.
Next up, battle of the backup. Cincinnati Bengals at the Minnesota Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings. So Carson Wentz hasn't really been there very long. They signed him, I think, after they traded Sam Howell to the Eagles. That was the week before the first game. Sam Howell wasn't with the Eagles in the preseason at all. So Wentz, how many reps has he even gotten in the Viking system? Meanwhile, Browning has been in Cincinnati for years, and he's played pretty well. I like the Bengals to get to 3-0, and I'm very curious to talk to Dr. Chow tomorrow because he's had some interesting things to say about this J.J. McCarthy ankle injury. We'll talk with him on tomorrow's Even Money Betting podcast. Remember, we do 2 a week now. But give me the Bengals to win a lower scoring game against the Vikings, 17-13.
Got a classic AFC rivalry here. The Steelers are at the New England Patriots.
Maybe 20-16 Bengals over the Vikings, by the way. I'll give them a couple more score. Each team one more score. Steelers, Patriots, big swing game for these teams for sure. The Vrabel Bowl, you don't even know, Jack, that Vrabel played his first 4 years for the Steelers. Did you know that?
I did know that.
What number was he?
I mean, I'm assuming 50. I don't know. I don't know the
No,
exact
he wasn't.
number.
Wrong. All right. So let's go. Man, I really don't know about this one. This is like a toss-up game. I don't know why the Steelers' defense has been this bad. We talked about this yesterday on Even Money. I think there's a decent amount of points in this game. Neither defense has been very good. Drake May or Aaron Rodgers in a shootout. Aaron Rodgers is like 20 years older than Drake May. Whew. You know what? Patriots won last week and Steelers lost. I know the way the NFL goes. If I'm torn, I'm going to go ahead and pick the team coming off the loss versus the team coming off the win. 24-23 Steelers.
Philadelphia Eagles, they're hosting the Los Angeles Rams.
Somebody is going to end up 3-0 after this game. Battle of the Unbeatens. This is like a surprising 1 p.m. game. Really surprising. Like Eagles-Rams is 1 p.m., but the marquee game, Fox's game of the week or whatever they call it, Cowboys-Bears? I mean, I guess Cowboys and Bears are two really big markets, but how about Los Angeles and the Eagles? That one surprises me a little bit, but that's a juicy 1 o'clock game for sure. The Rams, I said this on my Ross report on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL. I think they're the best team the Eagles have played so far. They look good watching them against the Titans. The Eagles just kind of figure it out, I think the Eagles will play better offensively. I think they find a way to squeak it out. I don't know that I feel good about it, but how about 19-17 Eagles?
Next up, the New York Jets are at Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Maybe this is one of the 0-2 teams beating a 2-0 team, right? The Todd Bowles Bowl. Nope, Todd Bowles Bowl. The Bucs coming off of a short week. Now they're even more banged up with Kalijah Cansey and Luke Gedeke. This could be one. This could be one where the Jets win. But how do I pick that? That's the problem. When I make these picks for you guys, it's based on what I think's most likely, where I would put my money, and I would not put my money on the Jets. So I'll put my money on Baker and the boys. How about 24-23 Bucs? I like that score.
Got another AFC South battle, this time between the Colts and the Titans.
Aren't you supposed to say a game you know a little something about?
Yeah, but I already did it for the Westwood 1 game, and I feel like I've been adding too much, so I
Okay, I thought that was like your shtick, though, for every game I'm calling. Game you might know a thing or two about, Ross. Anyway, I know a lot about this game. I know I'm excited to see Cam Ward, that's for sure. And I know the Colts look pretty darn good, especially on offense. Shane Steichen, Daniel Jones making sweet music. Wouldn't surprise me at all if this was one of the 0-2 teams beating the 2-0 teams. I'm not going to predict that to happen because Titans are taking too many sacks, although the Colts pass rush isn't really good. Neither one of these teams' pass rushes has been very effective, but I think this is a close game. The Titans had the lead against the Rams with like a minute left in the third quarter. Feels like one of those games again, but I'll take the Colts with the way they've been playing. How about Indianapolis 23, Tennessee 17? Don't go anywhere. Got to pay some bills real quick. October will be here before you know it. That's when your boy, that's me, is getting a new shower, which I desperately need. I don't know how they do it at West Shore Home. They can actually make the shower area bigger, which I need. That we did not do that right when we first bought this house. Anyway, right now you can get 25% off all projects. So that's your bathroom, windows, doors, full house flooring, which they need. That's probably my next project, by the way. 12 months, no payment, no interest. That is nice. Making it even easier to get started. They're going to give you an extra $500 off on top of the 25% just by scheduling now at westshorehome.com/Ross. So make sure you go to that website for details, westshorehome.com/Ross. You can see all of the before and after pictures from the projects I've done at my house. Got a text recently from a buddy that was up in Buffalo for that Ravens game, and he saw a bunch of Labatt Blues and Labatt Blue Lights. He asked how many he should drink before the game, and I said, all of them. And then go to rewards.labattusa.com, upload your receipt, and get awesome gear. Like the cooler backpack is one of the coolest things I've ever had in my life. The mini fridge is incredible. Buy beer, get gear. Rewards.labattusa.com.
Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders. They're traveling to Washington to play the Commanders.
Again, short week road game. I personally do not think that Jaden Daniels will play. I think that the Commanders, I mean, he's got a sprained knee. So even if it's a grade 1, which is, grade 3, you tore it all the way. Grade 2, it's middle. Grade 1 is even if it's a grade 1, that's such a big part of his game that I would think they would err on the side of caution. So then you have Mariota out there. This is a live dog for me with the Raiders against the Commanders. I think it can go either way. I'll say 17-16 Commanders, but another one of really hotly contested games.
Got a vitally important AFC West battle here between the Broncos and the Chargers. What are you thinking about in that one, Ross?
Well, I actually like the Broncos to win this game. And I think that might be one of, if not my only so far, underdog of the week. Let me just check that. I never really know before I do this. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Broncos as the underdog. They had some fluky things go against them in Indy. The Chargers are on a short week. Chargers lost Khalil Mack. They're kind of banged up. So I think the Broncos go into LA and get this win. I think it's Denver. I mean, the Chargers defense looks so good, but no Mack is an issue. I think it's Denver 20, the Chargers 16. Broncos get a gigantic road win against the Chargers. I called that game, by the way, last year. Denver in Los Angeles for Westwood 1.
Saints, they are at the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, they are. New Orleans Saints at the Seattle Seahawks. The weirdest thing, maybe you can look it up, the weirdest thing about the Seahawks is they're really bad at home and really good on the road, like the last couple of years. It's the total opposite of what they had been previously. I don't have an explanation for it, but their road home splits are crazy. Rattler's been good for the Saints, giving them a chance to win. I think he'll give them a chance to win in this game as well, but it's kind of hard to pick the Saints to win their first game on the road against a solid Seattle squad. This is the Clint Kubiak Bowl, I guess. Wasn't he the OC for the Saints last year, I think? I'll take the Seahawks to get it done. Not picturing a ton of points here. Probably, let's go 23-20. Kind of similar to the first couple weeks for both these teams. 23-20 Seahawks.
In the last 5 years, the Seahawks are 16-9 at home and 20-15 on the road. Little fact for you there.
Not even close to correct.
That in the last 5 seasons?
And you said 16-9 at home, 20-15 on the road.
16-19.
Oh. No, you said 9.
Oh, well, I apologize for my
I was going to say there's no way they've played 25 games at home and 35 on the road. I guarantee it. That's a good stat. Yeah, I think you said 9. If I'm wrong, that's why we have tape.
Next up is the national broadcast. Cowboys are at Chicago Bears.
The Bears are favored. I guess they got to play better and win one of these at some point. I'm not predicting it to happen. I'm taking the underdog, so it's another underdog for me. Give me the Cowboys. No Jalen Johnson for the Bears is a problem. Dak Prescott has been tearing it up this year. The Bears just got torn up. A lot of points in this game. Total's 49.5. I think it goes over that. Bears offense finally gets going, but I'm not picking Caleb Williams in a shootout over Dak Prescott. 31-27 Cowboys. Maybe that is the game Brady should be on. It should be a shootout. Should be fun.
Got an NFC West battle here between the Arizona Cardinals and the 49ers in San Francisco.
2-0 against 2-0. Man, one of these teams gets to 3-0 on the young season. That's pretty cool. I think I think I'm going to take the Niners. Probably not the best look for the Cardinals that I'm taking a Niners team that's probably going to have their backup quarterback, Mac Jones, starting again. But the Cardinals haven't really looked that great on offense. They're kind of treading water. They haven't looked that great in general. They're going to have to play better to beat this 49ers squad, and I'll predict them to play better when I see it. The Niners moved the ball better against the Saints probably than the Cardinals did. Could go either way, but give me the Mac attack to go 2-0 as the starting quarterback and maybe start some quarterback controversy if Purdy doesn't play great when he comes back. I'm joking, but that will happen. If Mac Jones plays well again and then Purdy's not awesome when he comes back, maybe Mac Jones should be the guy. No, maybe he shouldn't. Maybe just every quarterback seemingly plays well for Kyle Shanahan. Other than Trey Lance, I guess. Niners. Good game. How about 24-21 Niners?
We got a battle of the 0-2 teams. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're at the New York Giants.
Well, I don't think anybody's surprised that the New York Giants are 0-2, but the Chiefs 0-2? Can you imagine the conversation if the Chiefs lose to the Giants on Sunday Night Football? Everybody's watching. Can you imagine what the conversation will be Monday if the Chiefs fall to 0-3? That's not happening. I mean, I'm curious. The Chiefs are favored by 6 points. I would be floored if they lost this game. I just don't see it. Give me the Chiefs to win the game. And what might be, by the way, one of the last games for Russell Wilson to start in his NFL career. Yes, you heard me correctly. I think they'll go to Jackson Dart soon, and I don't think Russell will be a starting quarterback for a team anymore. I'll be curious to see if he's a guy that keeps playing as a backup. That's actually interesting to see. Give me the Chiefs. The Giants' defense has not been what they were supposed to be for whatever reason. So maybe the Chiefs get back on track a little bit. 24-17, Mahomes and the gang.
And our last game of the week, probably the game of the week as well, the Detroit Lions are at the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's a dope game. That's an awesome game. I'm looking forward to it. Lions look more like themselves against the Bears. So did the Ravens against the Browns. Neither one of those teams are that good. I like the Ravens playing at home. I think they kind of got their swagger back on defense a little bit. Didn't even have to play that great on offense to beat the Browns. I don't think the Lions defense has been okay, I would say, so far. Fun game. 27-23. The Ravens get it done. More great stuff right after this. I really do think, for the most part, we all kind of want the same thing, right? We want to eat healthy food that tastes good, that doesn't take that much time to make. That's what the folks at Factor have come up with. That's the secret sauce. That's why my wife and I are big into these Factor meals. Eat smart at factormeals.com/Ross50off and use that code Ross50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code Ross50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Jack, you're over 21. Have you done it yet? Have you grabbed a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and then gone to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day? I'm telling you, you guys in your 20s, you don't even know how many cool cocktails are out there. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please not share with anyone under legal drinking age, but there's a reason why I recommend the award-winning vodka. And listen, if they're smart enough to partner with the NFL, then that's good enough for me. And by the way, They've been around since 1864. I think maybe this company might be around for a little bit. Smirnoff.com. Please drink responsibly.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross, we've got some news around the league. Couple quarterback signings, teams playing each other this week. The Bengals, they signed both Mike White and Sean Clifford to their practice squad, and the Vikings signed Desmond Ridder to the active roster.
Which is interesting because Desmond Ridder was with the Bengals in the preseason. So I wonder if the Vikings are, pumping him for any information, perhaps, that he might have from his time with the Bengals this summer. Hey, any calls, any audibles? If nothing else, what happens is it forces the Bengals to have to change their audibles, to have to change their hand signals, which is super annoying, but they have to because Ridder knows them, right? Like that's part of it. And then multiple quarterbacks to the practice squad. I forget, I guess, I can't remember if I guess Mike White maybe will get activated for the game. We'll have to see. But obviously, the Bengals wanted to make sure they're covered in that regard.
And some other notable notes include the Jaguars. They released veteran safety Darnell Savage. And the NFL, they issued clarification as relates to Tom Brady's dual duties as a Raiders owner and a Fox broadcaster.
So it's interesting anytime a team like the Jags cuts a player like Darnell Savage after a couple games, because that, the guy's got the pedigree of being a highly drafted guy. He's started a bunch of games for the Jags. So they're kind of making a statement when you cut a guy like that, right? This is a guy that has been around the league, and it's at least his fifth year, so his salary is guaranteed for the rest of the year. So that's a big move for them. As for the Brady thing, I'm getting asked about it, Jack, by every show I go on. So obviously I owe it to you guys to give you my thoughts. First of all, I think it was really weird. I'm a little surprised, I guess the way to say it, that Tom Brady was in the coach's box for that Raiders-Chargers game. There's already a lot of people that aren't happy about the conflict of interest. To be that open about it, that outward about it, that showy about it, I'm surprised the Raiders did that. I really am. And also looked awkward to see Brady in the coach's box in a suit, blah, 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 and any owner in the coach's box. As for the production meetings, he's not allowed to do them in person, but he does them via, remote Zoom or whatever. I just think like this week he's doing Bears Cowboys week 3. Week 4, the Bears play the Raiders. Well, now they've stated that Brady talks to the coaching staff 2 or 3 times a week. Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll. So I would imagine if you're the Bears, I think that you would be very tight with anything that you would say to the Raiders. To Tom Brady, who is the Raiders, right? So then that would maybe get frustrating for the rest of the folks on that Fox crew. Now I'll say this. They're not giving away state secrets. They're not telling you what play they're going to call and stuff in these production meetings. But they do tell you some information that could be helpful. And from his background with Belichick in New England, any information is powerful. And so I think it's going to be up to these teams now to decide just how forthcoming they'll be with Brady in these production meetings, especially if they have to play the Raiders later in the year. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. I love it. Always have, always will. And I love sending you guys autographs in the mail if you want it. So go to myfrontpagestory.com. Get somebody an awesome gift. Backofficescheduler.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.